if you wake up tomorrow and you have everything that you desire, how would you feel? And I allow them to expand in that for a second. And it's like in their body, everything shifts. So my question becomes, what you just did was
Mm-hmm.
you shifted your reality for just a moment, how powerful the mind is, and you felt what you wanted to feel. You see, we get taught that we need conditional things to happen in order for us to experience something,
Yeah.
instead of realizing that we are capable of reshaping and shifting the narrative in our minds. So the question for me became, what if I was able, with the story that I've created in my life, to then recreate and become a conscious creator of my own life and create a story in my mind that's so compelling to me personally, nobody else. It
Huh.
doesn't matter, because this is me. I wake up in my body, in my mind, that's so compelling that the line gets blurred between my current reality and that story itself. People will say that's Pollyanna thinking or whatever, but my argument is, for those of us who've gone through significant darkness in our lives, there's a higher level of drive beyond that morality of, I don't seek those lower level pleasures. I'm seeking to better my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeking something from me that is palatable and then beautiful, so that I can define it for myself. If we continue to put love externally into something else, or my sense of passion into something else, and that goes away,
Mm-hmm.
then we have no drive, right? So there's this interesting concept of, how do you become the conscious creator of your own life, in which you pick up the pen and write your own story? There has to be that reconciliation of your own current story to find out what's true and what's not, because our brains trick us to thinking that we know, and we don't.
Huh.
These are just things that are contextual. We fill in the blanks so powerfully. It's like we read a meme and we get it, we know it, right? But we
Yeah.
don't. And we'll argue to the death that we know, when really we're just aware, right? And so we have to realize, how did that happen? It's just how we learn as individuals. So with the guilt and shame, I had a quote, or a morning thought I sent out to clients this morning, and I was listening to, I don't know if you're familiar with Elliot Hulse,
Mm-mm.
but Elliot is big in the masculinity space, very direct, and he is who he is, which I dig. I don't have to agree with all of it, but I do like who he is as a person. And he said, the reason why we're where we're at is because there's this consensus conversation of just seeking grayness. There's no more polarity in our world right now. And I started thinking about that. And I said, particularly for men, when we're dealing with guilt and shame, how would feelings of guilt and shame begin to get eroded if we were taught how to seek and create our own personal standard of being in the world? That we actually sought the difficulty, and we were actually able to experience the difficulty, so that we could understand that failure is a byproduct of trying and doing, and that allowed us to be in that moment. That will imbue within us this, like the alchemist kind of thing. It's like the alchemist, for me, I love it because it's a story of becoming,
Mm-hmm.
not just doing. Santiago was becoming in the alchemist. The alchemist became gold because of their proximity and the focus and the energy. How can we become that and be forged in this idea of being able to create space for others as the only byproduct of us being able to hold space for ourselves first?
Mm-hmm.
How can I get myself out of the way so I can serve you without thinking about how much you're paying me, my time being somewhere else, and you being able to take from me? I can only open my heart to you if I've created the safety for myself, and I've
Mm-hmm.
gone through the difficult, right? So that's something that I'm very big on talking to folks about, especially in that guilt and shame and fear, is that's an external thing we've been taught to feel, because we've been taught this duality nature, this separateness. You know what I mean? And it creates this shame, because really we're meant to connect. We're meant to be.